Science, and you're watching Profiles on Five Eyes TV. We have with us today the internationally acclaimed Iyanla Vanzant. She's known as the spiritual bounty hunter. Welcome, Iyanla Vanzant, to London once again. Okay, over the next 20 minutes, I'd just like to ask you some very, very informal questions, just to relax you, just to find out a little bit more about Iyanla.
Can I send it to you?
Certainly there will not be intrusive questions. It's just very easygoing and very casual. The first thing that I'd like to ask you is, what does the name Ronda Harris mean to you?
Okay.
Absolutely.
You know? Okay, I had read somewhere that Ronda Harris was the name that you were given.
That's my birth name.
That's right. Okay, but at this moment in time it doesn't mean anything to you?
Nothing.
Okay. So just for the viewers' benefit, as I said, I just wanted to confirm that that was the name that you were given at birth. So obviously you changed that. Can you tell me why you did that and when?
Your name is your nature. Every time somebody calls your name, what they're doing is educating your spirit. And I was given the birth name of Ronda Harris, named for my great-great-grandmother, and of course my grandfather's surname. My grandfather was a mulatto, meaning he was half black and half white. But he lived his black half, not his white half, and was drowned at the age of 19 in Virginia. And his wife, my grandmother, was half Tislanki or Cherokee and half Blackfoot. So her great-grandmother was Ronda. So what people were educating my spirit about was about how to be oppressed and how to be confused and how to be denied and how to be dismissed and how to be disenfranchised and disempowered. And I lived that most of my life. And when I was 24, as part of my spiritual journey, my spiritual godfather renamed me so that my spirit would have a different education and a different mission. And in my case, in my particular case, Ronda means great flower, and Iyanla means great mother.
Yeah.
So I moved from something that was ornamental and easily destroyed to something that was eternal.
Thank you very much. Okay, you were saying it means great mother, and from what I've seen, it comes from the Yoruba tribe.
Yoruba tradition.
Right, Yoruba tradition.
Yes.
Okay, which is part of the heritage of Nigeria.
Right.
What does that country mean to you? Do you actually visit Nigeria at all?
My mother is a second generation Dahomian, born in Mississippi, meaning her mother was born in Dahomey. Her grandmother was born in Dahomey. My mother was born in Virginia. Her mother was born in Dahomey. So my family comes from the motherland.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can trace my lineage. I don't have to make it up. And my mother's lineage is the Yoruba people, Y-A-R-R-I-B-A, out of Dahomey. And somehow or another, they must have migrated into Nigeria. But 87% of the slaves that went into the United States came out of Nigeria. And so I have been to Nigeria. I do embrace my family heritage as a Yoruba or a Yoruba. We don't know if it's because the settlers couldn't say it or the people forgot it. I'm not a Hausa or an Igbo, but I do have lineage to the Yoruba people and Yoruba culture.
And would you ever consider settling in Nigeria?
Absolutely not. And I say absolutely not because I think that Nigeria has a culture. As a Yoruba priestess, I'm a cultural custodian. And that means to bring the culture outside and keep it alive. They don't need me in Nigeria to keep the culture alive. I can do the work outside.
Which leads me quite nicely. I was going to ask you to tell me a little bit about the work that you do as a minister. And also paying particular attention to the work that you did in the prisons as well.
I think as a minister in general, as a Yoruba priestess, I am a cultural custodian. Mm-hmm. My job is to promote the tenets, or my charge, my calling, is to promote the tenets of a particular culture of African people, which I do as how I live. Yeah. You live your culture. You don't weigh it, bring it out on Sunday, or put it in a hat box. You know, you live your culture. Mm-hmm. And I do my best to live my culture as a descendant of Africans. I embrace myself as a black woman, as an African descendant. I stand on the tenets of African culture, mm-hmm. and I promote them. Now, culture only works if it meets the needs of the people. So whether I'm in the UK or in the US or in the Caribbean, the culture has to be presented in a flexible way. Yeah. You know, there are things that are a part of the culture which no longer meet the needs of the people. You know, you can hold on to your culture, but the practical application of it has to change. Mm-hmm. So I live my life as a black woman. As a minister, my job is to serve as a demonstration and an example of what is possible as it relates to one building, a personal, intimate knowledge and relationship creator. That's my job.
That's your job. Do you still work in the prisons? Do you still have programs there?
Not as much as I used to. Our prison ministry was correspondence for the most part. Right. But I did do a lot of work in the prisons, but I haven't been in the prison in a long time.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, when you were a child, what career path did you want to follow?
Who knows? I wanted to be a fireman like everybody else. No, I think I always wanted to be a nurse. Okay. That was I wanted to be a nurse. I understand now that what I wanted to do was help people heal, which is actually what I do. Mm-hmm. It didn't have to have the name of a nurse. Yeah.
Still remaining in your childhood, who did you turn to for comfort and inspiration? And if there was anybody in particular, do you think that has affected the way that you tackle your problems now, and also your outlook on your life now?
There was nobody for me to turn to for comfort and inspiration. I grew up in an alcoholically dysfunctional family. Okay. So there was nobody.
Right, okay.
And when I finally realized that that was an option, who knows that it's an option for you to turn to somebody for comfort? Who knew that? Who knew? When I found out that there was an option, you know, there were many women in the community that I looked to, which is a very integral part of African culture because it takes a village. So when mommy and daddy can't do it, you go to the elders, the wise women, the aunties, and that's what I did.
So they that comfort zone for you. Who is the most fascinating person that you've ever met, would you say, and why?
The most fascinating person I've ever met, I would have to say, would be my grandson, Lua.
Why is that? Is he super naughty?
No. He's a natural-born vegetarian.
Okay.
Never ate a piece of meat. Just wouldn't eat it.
Never had any
desire. Just never eat it. He has always been very clear about what he wants and what he doesn't want. And sometimes in children, that's very hard to deal with because we want them to do a certain thing in a certain way. Yeah. And Olua absolutely refused to do it. Olua loved his body, and he took every opportunity to expose it to whomsoever was available at the time. And he just had no issue ever with nudity. And he, in the traditional sense, you know, he doesn't fit the mold. He's not quiet, and he's not obedient, and he's not compliant, and he's not amenable.
He's just a free spirit.
He is a free spirit, and probably one of the most loving souls. You know, he loves animals. He loves babies.
Aww.
He's extremely helpful. And his major challenge comes when we try to fit him into the box of what the world says he should and shouldn't be and do as a child. And have always found him pretty fascinating. Frustrating, but fascinating.
You're watching Profiles on Five Eyes TV. My name's Janet Ines. I read a story about you meeting an angel at a railway station. I wanted to ask you if that was a true story, and just for you to just briefly tell me about that, and whether you felt that that was a turning point for you in your life at that time.
Well, yeah, I was leaving an abusive marriage at 5 o'clock in the morning with 3 babies. One in my arm, one on my hip almost, and my son. And I left my husband and I packed a bag for each of the children and one for myself. And I got to the train station and I didn't have any money. And it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was just going to go upstairs and tell the clerk, look, I don't have any money. I need to get on the train. I had no clue where I was going. And as I was gathering my children to go up the stairs to the train, a man came down the stairs and he said to me, do you need some help? And I said, no, I need a token cigarette. And he said, I can do that. And he gave me a token and he gave me a cigarette. And I said, thank you. And I walked up the stairs. And when I looked out the window, because there was only one street you could walk up, when I looked out the window, he wasn't there. He was gone. And in that moment, I said, oh my God, that was an angel. Oh my God. And why didn't I ask him for like 100? But it speaks to how small we think.
Yes.
We think very small. Yeah. You know, only in the need in the moment as to the contingency for the forever. I could have asked him for anything probably, but I didn't know. And so, you know, I don't know where it went. I don't know what angels do. They show up and then I don't know, do they disappear? Do they fly away? I don't know.
Exactly, but not only that, who knows what an angel is going to look like?
Yeah, and we're all angels. You're an angel to somebody.
I hope so.
You know, how you behave, how you show up. I'm sure there have been instances where you've helped strangers, and we've all done it.
Yeah, that's very true.
And in that moment, you're somebody's angel. That's why we need to be on our best behavior most of the time. You got to be on your good behavior. You can't be wicked, nasty, evil, cussing at people.
Okay, so you have obviously a very successful career, which has been drawn from your past experiences, and that has obviously resulted in you writing many, many books, of which you've given advice and inspiration to many people across the world. One of the things I'd like to ask you is, how do you keep your advice and inspiration fresh, book after book after book, without repeating yourself?
I listen to God. I don't write books. I simply download the information that God has given me for the curriculum that I have been put on this planet to teach. I'm here to teach a curriculum, and nobody could have written a book. So I just write what I hear.
Okay. Which of your books is your favorite?
Oh, that's like asking me which of my children is my favorite.
Oh,
I don't have a
that's fondest to you? None at all?
I mean, you know, Tapping the Power Within was first, but it was quickly, its sister, Acts of Faith, was quickly born. So who do you love more?
The one that you could write the quickest.
Well,
make
you know,
most
I mean,
money?
I think they all speak to where I was at a certain part of my life. So I have to embrace them all equally. I think the one that I had the most, the one that was the most powerful for me to write was The Spirit of a Man. Because it wasn't to women, it wasn't about women. It was about a woman's experience of men. And so I had to be very present and very conscious to that book in a very different way. So I think that was the most, for me, my experience of writing it, that was the most powerful experience.
Do you ever read any other authors' books?
Of course.
Who do you read? Who's your favorite?
Oh, I don't think I have a favorite. No.
Who do you enjoy most?
I don't know. I think my favorite book in the world doesn't even have an author, and that's A Course in Miracles. It was channeled by Helen Schumann. It's believed to be the voice of the Christ in the New Age. And for me, it lives right next to my Bible.
Okay.
Because I've been reading The Course in Miracles since 1978. And every time I read it, I still learn something.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Okay, so since your very first book, do you feel that black women have progressed in terms of where they fit in society, their decisions, their ideals, etc.? And do you think that you could have contributed, or you have contributed by your books, etc., to these women?
Well, see, that's really not a fair question, because how we fit into society is about us. Mm-hmm. That's about the society.
It is.
How does a woman fit into her body? How does she fit into her dream? How does she fit into her vision? How does she fit into her hips? Mm-hmm. How does she fit into her relationship? Now that, I think, I've been able to contribute to. Mm. And I think there are many women who feel better about how they be because of what I've been able to offer. Yeah. Whether or not society likes it or accepts it or acknowledges it, it's not our business.
Well, you know what, these women, I think they're probably saying, well, it doesn't matter what society thinks anymore.
Well, it doesn't, and as a result of that, their lives are probably better.
Yeah. Because
they feel better about themselves and what they're doing, no matter where they are.
That's right. So we have lots of strong, empowered black women walking around. How do you think black men cope with that?
Poorly.
Have you ever been on the end of any resentment from perhaps a bitter man whose wife or girlfriend has been reading your books avidly? Has anyone ever stopped you and said,
well, I've had men say to me, I've had men send me their wives.
Really?
Yeah, they say, here, I'm sending her to you for this, for that, help her, you know. See, there's a distinction. I think a truly empowered woman doesn't disempower a man. So when a woman gets truly empowered as being a woman, she becomes a better partner. She becomes a better teacher. She becomes a better wife, a better everything. That doesn't disempower a man. But a woman who seeks power dishonors and frightens a man, because there's probably nothing more dangerous than a woman who doesn't know how to sit in her power. Yeah. Women who think they are men in skirts, it's a problem. Yeah. Because then a woman is going to compete with a man. She's not going to stand with him, behind him, in front of him, next to him. She's going to stand on him.
And he doesn't feel required.
And, well, he doesn't feel required, heard. You see, a woman wants to know that her feelings are cherished. That's what we want to know. We want to know that a man cherishes what we feel. He may not be able to do a darn thing about it, but can it at least matter to you that I hurt, or that I'm happy, or that I'm scared? A man wants to know that his thoughts are respected. And very often a woman seeking power will overtalk a man, or dismiss a man, or challenge a man, or compete with a man to the degree that he experiences that what he thinks is not being respected. That's when you're going to have a problem. See, I don't challenge men's thinking.
I don't either.
I just teach them how to feel.
Yeah. Or
and
make
be
them
okay
believe.
with it. I can't make them believe anything. I just let them know that wherever you are in this moment, we can work with that. Now, if you're open to it, I can show you how to make it more beneficial for you and for me. Because women give birth. Yeah. Men plant the seed. Yeah. But it's the the woman that brings the birth forward. Whether that's a business or a book or a new home or a bigger savings account, he's got to plant the seed and she brings it forward. But we want to plant the seed, dig up the seed, cut the tree.
I know you can do is take the trash out.
And we don't still take the trash out because you can't do that right. Okay. And we have to learn how to be with men.
You're watching Profiles on Five Eyes TV. My name's Janet Ines. Some people would say that you are the definition of empowerment. But I know that you're a human being like me, and you can't be on point 24/7, 365 days of the year. So how does Iyanla Vanzant pick herself up when, you get those days when you don't want to get out of bed? I don't want to do this today. What do you do to inspire yourself?
I eat. I eat. I do my scrapbooking pages.
Scrapbooking pages?
Yes, I make scrapbooks.
Really?
That's my hobby. And sometimes I whine and complain. But I always surround myself with people who are able to get me to where I need to be when I need to be there. Because, heal your own self. I don't feel like healing you today.
Yeah.
And somebody say, wait a minute, come on now. Just do this just a little bit. Come on, just do this. And then you can go eat and play scrapbooks. So you got to surround yourself with people who support your vision and who have an intimate knowledge of who you are, because they'll pick you up when you fall down. You don't need people who are going to sit on you when you're down.
Okay, so you've been a public speaker, you've worked in television where you've hosted programs, you've been on other people's shows, etc. You've produced music CDs, gospel music, inspirational music, and you've published books. Which of these media areas would you say is the most satisfying to you?
I'm a writer.
So the writing and publishing.
I'm a writer. That's what I do.
Okay. In the early 90s, you appeared a few times on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and as a result, you were given the opportunity to work on a regular feature with her, of which you turned down. I'd like to know why you turned it down.
Wait a minute, that's not true.
Is it not true?
What are you talking about?
Okay. In the, I think it was 91, 92, I read an article which said that you were working with Oprah on her show, obviously giving advice and inspirational empowerment advice, etc. And I believe it was quite successful, and as a result, she wanted you to work regularly with her. But at the time, you were not able to continue with that, and you said no, you didn't want to.
No, that's not true.
It's not true?
No.
Okay. I was going to ask you, do you regret making that decision?
Well, that's not true. I worked with Oprah from May of 1997 until October of 1999, when I had an opportunity to go and do my own show, and that's what I did.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Well, they say, don't listen to everything that you read.
What do you say? She can't see you from over there.
I can see the reflection. Okay, just a couple more questions then before we finish off. Again, what kind of music do you listen to, if any at all?
I listen to everything except country western.
Really?
Yeah. My favorite is probably gospel, but I listen to a lot of jazz. I guess they would call it new age.
Yeah.
I listen to everything. I listen to hip hop. I just don't understand what they say.
I was just about to ask you because they say that the teenagers, etc., are affected by the music that they listen to. What are your views on that? Do you think that's true?
I don't know. If they can figure out what they're saying, maybe they are affected. But since I can't figure out what they're saying, it don't affect me.
Okay. You obviously have an extremely busy schedule. I just wanted to ask you, where do you find the time to be a mother and a grandmother?
That's what I am.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Okay.
I am a mother and a grandmother. Okay. So today, before I left the room, I took a handful of candies out that bowl for my granddaughter because she's been to London, and she said to be sure to bring her back the little candies in the bowl, so I have those. I'm grandmothering.
Okay.
And I will find my honey soap for Mill's Yard and my almond soap for my daughter, you know, and I'll find some aspen cologne for my son.
Okay.
So that even in the midst of what I'm doing, I'm mothering and grandmothering.
Is there anything at all that you would like to do that you haven't done already in your life?
Yes. I was in South Africa last year, and I'm going back again either this year or next year, and I want to see a lion.
A lion?
In his natural habitat.
Okay.
And I got up at 5:30 in the morning and went on safari, and we waited and we waited, and we saw wildebeest and gorillas and everything. But the lion was not there. I want to see a lion in his natural habitat. That's what I want.
Well, I hope you're able to fulfill that very, very soon. I just wanted to thank you so much for your time today. And we brought a little present for you to say thank you.
Okay.
Oh
my God, that is beautiful.
Iyanla.
Who did that?
I have people in high places.
Oh my God, look at that. Majestic, a woman of noble aspirations, personality, she works well under pressure. Genuine, her sincerity and honesty are praised. Style, proud of her talents. Ability, her monument will be achieved. Character, her goodness goes without saying. Sentiment, a woman who merits approval. Physical, she thinks before she acts. Wishing you good health and happiness.
That's from Five Eyes TV.
Oh, thank you. That is so beautiful.
I'm glad you like it.
I do. I love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. See, I love presents. Thank you so much. That is so beautiful.
You've been watching Profiles with Iyanla Vanzant and Janet Irons. See you next time on Profiles on Five Eyes TV.
Yeah, I'm in name Browning promotion.
A woman?
Yeah, a woman. You have problem with that? A woman here, you know?
Yeah, so are you putting name on poster?
Yeah, me put your name on poster, so what?
Taylor, because dead last night, you got a woman in me tell you
Taylor, you know what money I spend and put him name on every poster over town. Every poster. Everybody who should have been there was there. Was he there? No. My reputation, my time, my money.
You talk about money? Number one, I force me to see you. Number two,
take the time, man.
me don't get the money from you. And number three, you sign a contract. You go and talk here. You jump. There, me show the man something, man. Watch out. Taylor, me down New York City, the 17th, see? The 24th, Canada.
Taylor, how me
don't see no Browning promotion on my diary. So you go and talk.
Taylor, how me as a woman supposed to go after a man?
You know, because I want to box you down, I try and show you.
Box who? That's why I send man after you, because me never forgot box nobody I'll get no man.
It's about me, and it's about who I am and what I am, and what, you know, and it's a very personal relationship, which is what we've all got to develop. And I'm happy with my personal relationship with God. You know, God is my friend. God talks to me, and God understands me, and that's all that matters to me. You know, what are men that they should lie? You know, I'm more interested in what God thinks of me than what men thinks of me.